Tonight, here comes the new boss. The first woman governor of New York is set to take the reins after Governor Cuomo's resignation in the wake of multiple sexual harassment accusers.
That's when he put his hand up my blouse and cupped my breast over my bra.
Plus,
we would not be in the place we are right now with this Delta surge if we'd been more effective in getting everybody to take advantage of these immunizations.
Half of the people in the U.S. not fully vaccinated. This is Unvaccinated Kids Head Back to School. All this and more tonight on Faith Nation.
Transition in the Empire State. Welcome to Faith Nation. I'm John Jessup.
And I'm Jenna Browder. In 2 weeks, New York Governor Andrew Cuomo will be out. He announcing his resignation this week in the aftermath of multiple sexual harassment claims.
Tonight, the state's Lieutenant Governor, Kathy Hochul, is beginning her bid to reintroduce herself to residents of the Empire State.
She'll serve the remainder of Cuomo's term, making her New York's first female governor. Caitlin Burke joins us with tonight's top story. Caitlin?
While Governor Cuomo has long been a political darling, Kathy Hochul is an unfamiliar name with an impressive resume and says she's prepared to lead the state of New York.
I'm ready. I want people to know that I'm ready for this. And it's not something we expected or asked for, but I am fully prepared to assume the responsibilities as the 57th governor of the state of New York.
Throughout her political career, Hochul has served at all levels of government. In 1994, she started as a town board member, working her way up through local government before serving in Congress from 2011 to 2013. In 2015, she stepped into her current role as Lieutenant Governor of New York.
And the promise I make to all New Yorkers, right here and right now, I will fight like hell for you every single day, like I've always done and always will.
As Lieutenant Governor, Hochul focused her agenda on creating a strong economy, new jobs, and higher wages. She's also been an outspoken champion for women's rights and the LGBTQ community.
I was out there fighting in the streets to raise the minimum wage. I was out there fighting for paid family leave. I've been the champion of policies to eradicate the specter of heroin and opioid abuse, something that has touched my family personally. Child care issues. I've been out there making the announcements on affordable housing, clean energy, economic development. So that will continue.
The Buffalo native has called herself an independent Democrat, and some of her first big challenges may come from the state's more progressive lawmakers.
People will soon learn that my style is to listen first, then take decisive action.
Hochul is also inheriting a state with soaring crime rates and an economy that's struggling to recover post-COVID. John?
Caitlin, speaking of struggling, as we look back on New York's history of leadership, it seems to have a bad record when it comes to its top leaders.
You're right. It's actually been more than 15 years since a New York governor left office without a scandal. Governor Eliot Spitzer resigned after a scandal involving a prostitution ring. His replacement, former Lieutenant Governor David Paterson, called off his campaign for a full term in office after allegations surfaced that his administration improperly intervened in a domestic violence case. And fun fact, Andrew Cuomo actually led the probes against both men in his previous role as New York Attorney General.
Caitlin, interesting fact indeed. You know, Cuomo said that he's going to resign in 2 weeks. What do we know about Cuomo's plans for the next 14 days?
Well, he said he wants to ensure there's a seamless transition to the new administration. So it sounds like he'll be taking time to bring Hochul up to speed, and she'll be meeting with potential cabinet picks. In today's press conference, Hochul mentioned that she'd actually wanted to take office immediately, but that request was denied. And she really distanced herself from Cuomo, saying they'd never been close and that her administration would look much different. I do want to point out that once Cuomo leaves office, he could still be in some legal trouble. 5 prosecutors are looking into the sexual harassment allegations against him to determine whether he committed any crimes. John and Jenna?
All right, Caitlin Burke, thank you very much. Well, $3.5 trillion, that is the price tag for Senate Democrats' new budget plan. Early this morning, the blueprint of the sweeping measure passed in a party line vote, 50-49. It includes money for things like universal pre-K, free community college, expanding Medicare, and fighting climate change. Today, the Senate Majority Leader called the Democrat budget resolution the most significant piece of legislation seen in decades.
It'll cut taxes, lower costs for the American people, create good-paying jobs, invest in our future while tackling the climate change crisis. It's big, it's bold, it's strong.
Well, former President Donald Trump disagrees, saying, quote, "This legislation is an assault on our nation, on our communities, and on the American dream," adding that it, quote, "raises taxes like we have never seen, while also making many things you buy every day more expensive, gas, groceries, and much more."
Well, joining us now is author, economist, and chairman of the Task Force on Economic Revival at FreedomWorks, Stephen Moore. Stephen, always great to see you. Steve, immediately after signing the CARES Act into law last March, President Trump called on Congress to go big and bold and spend $2 trillion on infrastructure. Explain, Stephen, why this version doesn't have his support and didn't gain the support of 30 Republicans in the Senate.
Well, because this is not an infrastructure bill. It's a green energy bill. It's massive amounts of money to the wind and solar industry, the electric transmission line industry. If you have an electric vehicle like a Tesla, you're going to get free charge ups, and they're going to build tens of thousands of electric charging stations around the country. Gee, I don't remember the government building gasoline stations when we first invented cars. So it has $50 billion for Amtrak, tens of billions of dollars more for urban transit systems that nobody uses. It's a colossal waste of money. Only about $1 out of every $4 in that bill really goes to traditional infrastructure, roads and bridges and fixing potholes and airports.
The price tag on the Senate bill, Steve, is $3.5 trillion. Joe Manchin today said he has major concerns about that, so he could bring that number significantly down. We'll see what happens. But how accurate is that $3.5 trillion figure historically when it comes to government estimates?
Well, yesterday was maybe the blackest day in the history of the United States Senate, and that's saying a lot. I mean, in 24 hours, these politicians agreed to spend and borrow $4.5 trillion. I mean, that is shameful. And it will, if this were to come into law, I think it would cause a great financial crisis and make the inflation problem that you guys have been talking about much, much worse. It will mean trillions of dollars of transfer of economic activity out of the private sector, which creates the wealth, to government and politicians. It's a terrible, terrible day for America. I mean, I'm aghast at how much money they're talking about borrowing. The borrowing that they're talking about is more money than we borrowed in today's dollars to finance the Revolutionary War, the Civil War, World War I, World War II, the building of the interstate highway system, and defeating the communists in the Cold War. I mean, this is a gigantic amount of money. Each child born today, if this passes, will pay $600,000 in debt over their lifetime. I have nothing good to say about this. We should be saving money right now, not spending it.
Steve, you just hinted at this in your last answer. Inflation is up nearly 5.5% over where it was just a year ago, though down from last month. Does that signal to you inflation is slowing down, or do you anticipate prices will continue to rise?
Well, you know, it's amazing because we just got that jobs report on Friday, which was a good job, really good jobs report, 1 million new jobs created, which is fantastic news. But the Biden administration was crowing about these 4% wage gains. But when you've got 5.5% inflation, that means you're losing money, not gaining inflation. So I am very worried about inflation, especially if they pass. Look, if you pass another $4.5 trillion of debt borrowing, that's going to be financed by printing more money. And when you print more money, that means more inflation. This isn't complicated. So I am very worried about inflation getting worse, not better. And I think the Fed should be worried about it, too.
Steve, many would say the U.S. economy was on the road to recovery since the lows of the pandemic. Does inflation jeopardize that? Just about 30 seconds.
Sorry, does inflation jeopardize? I didn't quite understand.
Does inflation threaten the road to recovery?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no question about it, because people really feel it at the gas pump and they feel it at the grocery store. It puts a real hardship on lower income people and senior citizens living on fixed incomes whose pensions or paychecks are not keeping pace with inflation. And don't forget, inflation is what killed the economy in the 1970s. So, we can't allow that to happen. I know neither of you were even born in the 1970s, but I remember it very clearly. And it was a terrible period for the American consumer and the American family.
All right, Steve Moore with Freedom Works. We have to leave it there. We're out of time, but thank you so much. It's great to see you.
Thanks,
Thank you, Stephen, for making me younger. Well, turning overseas in some concerning news here, the Taliban has taken over 3 more major cities in Afghanistan, now giving them control of 2/3 of the country as the U.S. troop withdrawal continues. For more now, let's go to White House correspondent Eric Phillips. Eric, some are raising the question now with the Taliban offensive gaining ground, whether it's really the right time to leave. How is the White House responding?
Well, John, the White House is saying that this is absolutely the right time to leave. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki saying that every commander-in-chief has to make tough decisions where the national security of the country is concerned, and Joe Biden is no exception. But as U.S. troops are preparing to completely pull out of Afghanistan by the end of August, the Taliban is making major advances right now, controlling some 60+% of the country, and that is causing this president and this White House to have to re-explain this decision.
We spent over $1 trillion over 20 years. We trained and equipped with modern equipment over 300,000 Afghan forces. And Afghan leaders have to come together.
We are closely watching the deteriorating security conditions in parts of the country, but no particular outcome, in our view, is inevitable. We will continue to coordinate airstrikes with and in support of Afghan forces, and as the president made clear, Afghan leaders have to come together, and the future of the country is really on their shoulders.
And amid the continued violence in Afghanistan is growing civilian casualties. Just over the last month alone, 1,000 civilians have lost their lives. John and Jenna.
Eric, so how is the U.S. helping Afghan nationals who helped out the U.S. and U.S. troops and who are now in harm's way as the Taliban advances?
Well, the U.S. is sponsoring flights out of Afghanistan and expediting visas, special visas for those who want to get out of harm's way. And already we've seen flights arriving here to the U.S. with those Afghan nationals, some of them arriving at Fort Lee in central Virginia, others going elsewhere. But certainly there is a commitment with this White House to help those who have helped us.
And speaking of that commitment, Eric, can you tell us more about the humanitarian aid that the U.S. is continuing to offer to Afghanistan?
Well, John, in addition to the equipment and other aid that's being given to the military, backup of Afghan air forces and such, the White House has certainly made a commitment to humanitarian aid. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki pointing out that the president and the four-year 2022 budget has a line item, a significant line item for humanitarian aid for Afghanistan. Now, she didn't give a specific figure, but I was able to look it up, and it seems the U.S. is earmarking, if the budget passes as is, some $360 million in humanitarian aid for Afghanistan. And that doesn't take into account money allotted for Afghan forces. So this White House definitely has a commitment there to Afghanistan.
All right, Eric Phillips at the White House. Thank you so much.
Coming up, abortion in America and a major pro-life setback this week. Penny Nance with Concerned Women for America will join us.
To have sex before you're married is a bad idea.
Don't tell me there's no such thing as gun violence.
That just depends on your definition of when life begins.
Watch Dan and Dale tackle trending topics that test your faith on the next Faith Wire. Monday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel. The Global Lane takes you around the world providing facts over fiction.
What might rising trade and geopolitical tensions mean for you on the home front?
With over 45 years of experience, award-winning journalist Gary Lane brings you the truth from a global angle.
What about the issue of immigration?
World news analysis you won't see anywhere else.
And it's all right here on the Global Lane.
Thursday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Welcome back. Several pro-life laws in Indiana have been deemed unconstitutional by a federal judge. Among them, a ban on telemedicine consultations between doctors and women seeking abortion, a rule barring state employees from using telemed abortion options, and a measure prohibiting second trimester abortions outside of hospitals or surgical centers. The judge appointed by President Reagan did uphold some pro-life measures, though, including a rule requiring an ultrasound prior to having an abortion.
Well, here with us now, Penny Nance, President and CEO of Concerned Women for America. Penny, always great to have you. The head of Indiana Right to Life is calling this judge's ruling a case of judicial activism. As we just heard Jenna say, he is a Reagan appointee, and his ruling did leave in place some pro-life measures. Penny, how do you see this?
Well, Judge Sarah Barker may have been appointed by President Reagan, but she is not a constitutionalist. Unfortunately, she did set back the state of Indiana in their effort to actually put legal limits on abortion, particularly second trimester abortion. Remember, this is a baby in the second trimester of life that is being dissected for its abortion. I mean, it's a common practice. So what the state of Indiana had said is, if you're going to do this, you must do it in a hospital. And this was struck down by Judge Barker. So it is very concerning. Attorney General Todd Rokita of Indiana has said that he will fight on. We believe that this will be appealed further up the chain, perhaps the Seventh Circuit. And I think that they stand a very good chance of standing on the law on this, on the Constitution.
Penny, you have a piece on the Federalist this week titled, "After Targeting Black Lives for Decades, Abortion Movement Smears Pro-Life Women as Racist." Penny, what led you to write this article?
Well, a very little watched show on MSNBC was just really brought to my attention, in which a panel of women impugned the good motives and the character of pro-life women. And the truth was, it was the opposite. They accused pro-life women as seeing African-American women as human incubators. And I simply made the choice that what a horrible misunderstanding, maligning of the character of not just white women, but also all the many African-American women who are our sisters, who work alongside us in deep unity and in deep in love for the least of these. And I pointed out that the pro-life movement was started in many cases by African-American women, women like Dr. Mildred Jefferson, who was the first woman to graduate from Harvard Medical School and the first African-American woman to be admitted to the Boston Surgical Society. She was a 3 different time president of National Right to Life Committee. And then you have great women like Kay James, who has been a pro-life leader throughout her career and has gone on to be the president of Heritage Foundation, and Dr. Alveda King. But it is just such a misunderstanding. And there are racists in this conversation. But if they want to get to the basis of racism, they need to look at Planned Parenthood. They need to look at Margaret Sanger. They need to look at their basis within the eugenist movement. And the fact that, you know, even today, the majority of abortion clinics, surgical clinics, are in minority communities, and they have targeted those communities very thoughtfully. You have, a small group of people, a small minority of our people, of our citizens. 13% of abortions are had by African American women. It's very concerning. They should be concerned about a genocide that's happening to people. And instead of pointing a finger, a group of women who are not compensated, we love our sisters and we bring them into our homes and walk alongside them in these difficult seasons.
All right, Penny Nance with Concerned Women for America. We have to leave it there. Thank you, Penny.
Thank you.
Vaccinated and still infected. The COVID crisis in America and why breakthrough cases are on the rise.
Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new CBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new CBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile. Grow, connect, have fun. The all-new CBN app.
On the home front.
Thanks for joining us for CBN's On the Home Front, where we highlight what the men and women of America's military do to defend our country. CBN honors the men and women in our military with an initiative called Helping the Home Front. It partners with churches across the country to meet the needs of their military families, from repairing homes to wiping out medical bills for wounded veterans.
Wednesday at 3 on the CBN News Channel.
Too often, we carry baggage from our past. You know what it's like. It affects everything and everyone in our lives. It's always there, weighing us down and keeping us from achieving true happiness. But do you know God never meant for us to be trapped in the past? You can be free of your baggage. Learn how God's forgiveness leads to changed lives and new beginnings. Call the 700 Club.
Well, the Delta virus continues to surge, and now children hospitalizations are way up.
And among the vaccinated, breakthrough infections are climbing, leading some to question if the vaccines are working. CBN News correspondent Brody Carter joins us now with the latest. Brody, what more can you tell us?
Well, John, Jenna, breakthrough cases of COVID-19 are now being used to study how effective the vaccines are against mutations. An early study indicates your double dose of the jab may not be doing what you want it to. Turns out vaccines are becoming less effective against mutations.
And the concern is that a variant may come along that evades the vaccines even more than the Delta variant appears to be doing now.
With a rise in breakthrough cases and a steady surge in southern states, the Mayo Clinic closely monitoring the effectiveness of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccine. The good news, the safety net was highly effective in the initial fight against COVID.
The bad news is it looks like these vaccines are not protecting as well as they used to against people getting infected.
After combing through the report, CBN medical reporter Lori Johnson found Moderna is better than Pfizer at protecting people against getting infected and preventing breakthrough cases.
The vaccine companies are suggesting booster shots of the exact vaccines that we've gotten before, and And also, they're in the process of revamping the vaccines to target them directly at the variants that we're most likely going to face.
New variants are on the horizon. Lambda coming out of South America with almost 1,000 cases in the U.S., but the country is still reeling from Delta.
We would not be in the place we are right now with this Delta surge if we'd been more effective in getting everybody to take advantage of these immunizations.
Hospitalizations are estimated to quadruple by Labor Day. Children are the latest victims, with 4 times the number of kids in hospitals now compared to last month.
But we will see more children in the hospital, and unfortunately, we will see more children who lose their life to this largely preventable infection.
In Texas and Florida, bans on mask mandates continue. Individual schools now defying their governors in the name of safety.
There are consequences for whatever actions you take, and I'd rather take that consequence than have the health of students and staff and families on my mind.
I think it's important that if parents have a choice, that they do put a mask on their children.
Today, the CDC is recommending pregnant women get vaccinated. Right now, 23% of pregnant women have received at least 1 shot. The organization joins more than 20 health organizations claiming there's no risk of miscarriage among those immunized. John, Jenna, back to you.
All right, Brady Carter in the newsroom. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Are you suffering from feeling tired or worn out during the day? Can you not turn off your brain at night? You are not alone. Hi, I'm Dr. Michael Bruce, the sleep doctor, and I've partnered with the Christian Broadcasting Network, and we're gonna bring you some unbelievable information that you can use tonight to get a better night's rest.
Wake up to your best life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com to get your free copy of Protect Your Sleep today.
Nutrition, exercise, essential oils, weight loss, and more. It's Healthy Living with Lori Johnson.
Talk about what's in this.
Join CBN health reporter Lori Johnson to get the latest information from today's top health experts.
This is fantastic.
Find out what you need to know to live a healthier life. Watch Healthy Living, Tuesday night at 8:30 on the CBN News Channel.
Superbook fans, here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
No spur balls, man. Come.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes too, and so much more. Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Well, finally tonight, I'm sure you've heard the saying about cats and 9 lives.
Well, even if that is the case, Louisiana State University isn't taking any chances with their beloved mascot. LSU's Mike the Tiger got vaccinated. LSU's favorite big cat received his 2nd and final dose of the COVID-19 vaccine earlier this week, and so far so good. The 4-year-old hasn't shown any side effects so far. And that now that Mike is vaccinated and protected from the coronavirus, extra fencing around his on-campus habitat will come down, allowing fans to get a little closer to the big cat. John, hopefully not too close, as he is a real live tiger.
Good point, Jenna. That is a job that I don't think I'd ever want, to vaccinate a live tiger.
I know, they must have sedated him first.
I would hope so.
He's beautiful, yeah.
Beautiful cat, though.
Go Tigers.
Well, thanks for watching Faith Nation.
Have a great night.